Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of your Westland City Council to order. We'll begin tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Andrea Rakowski.
Council President. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rakowski, for leading us in the pledge. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bauman. Present. Councilman Hart. Here. Councilman Hornbuckle. Here. Councilwoman Rakowski. Present. Councilman Wishart. Here. Pro Tem Sampe. Here. Council President McDermott.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Okay, thank you. We have no special announcements or presentations tonight, so we will get started with citizens' comments and input on the agenda. So this section will allow members of the public at the beginning of the meeting to address council regarding items that are on tonight's business agenda. Questions asked may be responded to during the agenda item following a motion in support from your city council. Is there anyone on my left? Yes, Ms. Wilson.
Hi, Council, Mayor. Item I on the consent calendar, the approval of an agreement between the City of Westland and Municipal Service Bureau for the crossing guard management. Is this crossing guards for schools? Or is it just for bus stops? Or which are crossing the guards for? And, oh, that's it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anyone on my right?
Al.
It's I.
Sorry, it's L.
Oh, L, yep. Anyone on my right wishing to speak? Anyone on my left? Yes, Ms. Filzetti.
Good evening, everyone. And I'm not sure too exactly who to address this to, but maybe one of you could address it to the appropriate area. I saw an approval request for the Texas Roadhouse temporary event permit. While it does sound exciting, I'm a little bit concerned with the traffic and the parking as it is already in there. I know that that's a high-traffic area on Ford Road, and I'm wondering if during that special permit time, is there going to be extra enforcement, extra consideration for control of traffic during an event that puts more heavy burden on that area? That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone on my right wishing to speak on the agenda items? Anyone on my left? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will close comments on the agenda and move on to the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Rakowski, supported by Councilman Wishart. Are there any changes to the consent calendar?
Yes, Council President, thank you. I would like to move item L to new item 1A.
Okay, Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please. Oh, excuse me, are there any other changes to the consent calendar?
Actually, it doesn't have support.
Oh, I thought I heard support.
I'll support.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I thought you did support it. In my mind, I heard support. Sorry about that, my apologies. So, motion to move item L to new business by Councilman Rakowski, supported by Councilman Hart.
Roll call.
Roll call, yeah, thank you.
Councilwoman Bauman.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Wishart.
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe.
Yes.
Council President McDermott.
Yes,
Motion passes.
okay, back to the consent calendar as amended. Are there any additional changes to the consent calendar? Yes, Pro Tem.
I motion F, G, and H to move to new business on the consent calendar.
Is there support?
Support.
There's a motion by Pro Tem Sampe to move items F, G, and H to new business, supported by Councilman Hornbuckle. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bauman.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Wishart.
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe.
Yes.
Council President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, back to the consent calendar as amended. Are there any other changes to the consent calendar? Did you have something, Councilwoman?
Yes, can we move, just talk to answer the question, move item B and C, just so we can.
Is there support?
Support.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Bauman to move items B and C to new business, supported by Pro Tem Sampe. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Give her a second.
I wrote-
Sorry.
Excuse me one
Take
second.
time.
So, sorry, one moment, please. So this was item B and C?
B and C.
Correct, okay. Councilwoman Bauman.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Wishart.
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe.
Yes.
Council President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Fourth time? Are there any other changes to the consent calendar? Any other changes? Okay, any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing none, consent calendar passes as amended.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items. Minutes of regular meeting held June 2nd, 2025. Request from A. Tlays of Big Sam's Fireworks to operate a seasonal temporary fireworks tent in the parking lot of 8010 Middlebelt Road from June 28th, 2025 through July 4th, 2025. Hours of operation 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. daily. Municipal credit and community interlocal agreement with Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation, or SMART. Municipal Services, MES, as the official turnout gear supplier for the Westland Fire Department. Professional services agreement with Kent Communications for printing and mailing services. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Master agreement with DTE Electric Company for municipal street lighting to improve the lighting distribution on Middlebelt Road between Ann Arbor Trail and Warren Road. Total cost not to exceed $120,000, $120,752.53. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Agreement between the City of Westland and Municipal Service Bureau for golf course management services for a one-year period commencing immediately and ending June 30, 2026, in the amount of $135,000. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Agreement between the City of Westland and the Municipal Service Bureau for Westland Ice Arena Management Services for a one-year period commencing immediately and ending June 30th, 2026, in the amount of $180,000. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Agreement between the City of Westland and Municipal Service Bureau for park rangers for a one-year period commencing immediately and ending June 30th, 2026, in the amount of $99,000. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Introduction of budget amendments for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. Waive procedure to allow the introduction and adoption of budget amendments for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Adoption of budget amendments for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. Moving to payment of voucher.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilman Wishart. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? No. Okay, any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing and hearing none, motion passes.
New business, item number 1, approval of resolution authorizing settlement of Davidson versus Westland according to city attorney's closed session recommendation.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilwoman Baumann. Roll call.
Councilwoman Baumann.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Wishart.
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe.
Yes.
Council President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right. Give me one moment to get everything together. I guess. All right, so new business 1A, which is formally consent calendar item L, approval of agreement between the City of Westland and the Municipal Service Bureau for crossing guard management services for a one-year period commencing July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026 in the amount of $243,000. If approved, authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Rakowski, supported by Councilman Hornbuckle. Any discussion from the maker?
Yes.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Council President. I would just like the question that was brought forth during citizens' comment by Ms. Wilson to be answered. So if we could go through the chair to whomever could answer that, that would be fantastic.
Hello.
Yep.
I can take that.
Absolutely.
This was the crossing guard question. Yeah, so in the document, it does specify that it's Wayne Westland School District within the boundaries of the city of Westland.
And then the question was also asked where they're at, and they are located along the bus routes and also at the intersections to help kids cross safely at the intersections.
We don't have it down on the south. We don't have crossing guards. We have parents. So, John,
Okay. No, we can't have the, we'll come talk to you about that afterwards. Okay. Any other discussion on that item?
Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, to make sure that there's equitable division, I would just ask that the chief of police take that comment under advisement and work with the school district to try to make sure that all the children have equitable crossing guards. I know the parents help a lot, but there's other instances that the specific training your department offers those individuals, that could be really helpful in any part of our community, so.
Yes, we have a great program. I'll definitely review it this week, see where, I don't know exactly where all the rules are at this time. I'll look into it and get back to you later.
Wonderful. Thanks, Chief. All set? Okay. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business 1B, which is formerly consent calendar item F. Approval of annual subscription renewal for the city's mobile application, Westland Click and Fix. Upon approval, the city's license will resume immediately and will end on July 29, 2026, in the amount of $18,731.07.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Pro Tem Sampe, supported by Councilwoman Rakowski. Is there any discussion from the maker?
Thank you, Council President. So I move this for discussion. The Click and Fix app is something that you can use for reporting of blight and other issues. I've heard numerous complaints lately from residents that they don't find it user-friendly, and it's connected to the county, so I don't know if we're getting all of our reporting notices. I did also speak with the mayor's office and ask him to look to see how spending $20,000 on a mobile app, if we could possibly include some city events in there or something. I just don't feel like it's been a functional tool for the amount that we're spending. So through the chair to Director Brown, are you able to let me know, have we had a chance to look at the app right now and the ability to add additional tabs or to make it more functional just instead of a reporting tool?
Thank you for the question through the chair. The Click and Fix app is primarily designed as a reporting tool for issues throughout the city. That's what it's marketed as, and that's what its primary focus is. There are a number of links on the main page of the Click Fix app that include things like the recreation portal, How Do I, which goes to our FAQs, or to a section of our website that has information about how to pay your bills, things along those lines. It was asked if we can look at adding a link for the city calendar of events, which we absolutely are doing. We're adding that on there. Also adding information about trash pickup, so that's going to be on there also. Right now we have recycling information, so we're adjusting the links that are on there right now for the things that people are asking for the most. So it's all right there in this particular mobile app. But it is specifically a reporting tool, and since we started this reporting tool, we've had over 84,916 requests come in through this app for issues and concerns throughout the city. I haven't heard anybody specifically say that was difficult to use in a very, very long time, so this is news to me, to be honest, that anybody would be having issues. Because all you do is you hit new request, you hit your photo library or your camera, you take a picture, you tell us where it's at, and it gets sent off magically through the internet to our Department of Public Services or our ordinance officers or animal control, whoever is supposed to get those requests. And they immediately start working on the issues. The back end is very streamlined. It's all in real time. It's actually a really cool app how it's integrated with our work order systems.
Thank you, Director Brown. Yeah, I would ask that for that amount, just for a reporting tool, that's a pretty heavy price tag of, close to $20,000 for a reporting tool, is that we explore making it more of an interactive app that can do more. I know last year I also brought this concern up, and that was something that we said we were going to work on. So I would like to see it possibly with events. Our website is overwhelming, and I know you and I have talked about it, so I think it would be nice to have just like your top links on there, making it almost mobile friendly as a Westland app per se. So people tend to go in, and for the frequently asked questions or items that are done on our website, I would love to see if we can include that and Click and Fix and make it almost a Westland app rather than just Click and Fix.
So through the chair, to answer that question, this is an app that's provided by a vendor. It is a app in a box. There is very limited things that we can do to modify it. To design a app that basically reflects the website, we're talking about designing a custom app, which will cost us a whole lot more than $20,000 for us to develop and then maintain. This app is specifically to be a reporting tool. We can make adjustments to the URL links that are in there, to the top items that people are looking for, and that would go to our city website. But short of designing a map that simulates the website with tabs and stuff for the top hits like you're asking for, you're talking about hiring somebody for $80,000 plus to design it, and then having the developers on hand to actually maintain that type of stuff. There are other apps out there. They all have very similar looks to this. I look at them all the time. Every year when this comes up, I look to see what else is out there. Revise has a mobile app. Granicus has a mobile app. There are a number of other companies out there. None of them provide the functionality that this one does at this time, but I'm always looking to see what else is out there that would be better for the city. And I understand what you're asking for. It would be nice if it had like pretty buttons on it, for example, which I've asked them to do stuff like that to make it look more modern than what it looks right now. And they've taken in consideration, it's in their design plan, but until they make those changes, we can't take advantage of anything along those lines. So I hear what you're saying, but this is designed for a specific purpose. It does it really well, and the pricing for it, for what it does, is actually very reasonable in the industry.
Okay. I know that I've worked on several mobile apps myself that are a lot less than that price. So I guess if that's what it is, it is what it is. But I definitely would love to see how we can make it more mobile-friendly, user-friendly. Perhaps, I'll approve it this time and support it, but next year, if we don't have something that's more appealing, I may have some further questions. So perhaps, if you iframe it in and just have the box in there, maybe can we use it in a different way? Or like you said, the frequently asked links, can we frame them? I just feel like our website has a lot of information on it, and I would love to see a one-stop shop where our residents can go and just find what they need, click on it, and move on to the next. Because there are a lot of pages on there, which you're obviously aware, so.
Anything from the supporter?
Since we talk about the app, I'll ask just one question for you, Director Brown. Is this app capable of doing two-way alerting or alerting the individuals? Because I hear around town where some people don't hear the sirens, and that would be a great safety feature where they get notification on their phone that air pollution or tornado coming. Is that possible?
Through the chair, that's a great question. There is a notification feature involved with it if somebody has an account on it, but the notification features is nowhere near as robust as a mass notification system would be, like Code Red. So like we can't hook it up to the National Weather Service where it automates out notifications of weather alerts. The notification feature is very limited. It's kind of an add-on based off the fact that you can, if somebody puts in a request, you can communicate to them. Well, they're like, well, you can also send out other notifications at the same time, but you can't easily do groupings or anything along those lines. That's why we have a separate app to do mass notifications.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they could be combined, of course.
Awesome.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, any other discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing and hearing none, motion passes.
New business, item 1C, which is formerly known as consent calendar item G, approval of purchase of 30 new patrol fleet laptops for the police department.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Hornbuckle, supported by Pro Tem Sampe. Councilman.
Yeah, this was one of the items I was going to move, but thank you. I just want to bring this down for discussion. I got a lot of emails and questions about the laptops, and I would like the chief to kind of explain what's all entailed with these laptops, and the price tag is high if you're a normal consumer, but I would like for you to kind of explain what are we getting here.
Certainly. Yeah, so this was the Windows 10 being end of life in October. This is something we learned early this calendar year that we needed these computers. We went with IT director to see if our current computers could be updated to Windows 11. There's no way around it. We can't. So when I was doing the budget, the timing was actually decent because we had the budget prep. This was a big piece of my budget presentation. to get all the details into it, but generally, there's a lot of information. We can't just go to a store and get computers. Clemis is our report management system. They have pretty much every agency southeast of Michigan, except for very few. And they have certain, like, rules for their computers that we can use to get on their network and their software and securities and all that. So we're really limited to 2 options. We currently have the Dells, which are great. They're old, they're working great. It's unfortunate we can't get them updated. We have to replace. So I didn't care for that because it's, I don't want to replace something we don't need to, but they're working great, but we do. With that, we need compatible printers for citations, crash slips. If somebody gets in a wreck, we print off the slip as the case number, everything they need for their insurance companies. Victims of crimes, we give them the case number on those. Sometimes they print out. So there's a whole wireless printers that have to be compatible with the new laptops. All the installation, there's different brackets, different hardwares. So I mean, in all, like with installation, it's going to be up to $135,000. I like a little extra because there's always contingencies. There's always, well, we need to add this, we need to add this maybe. And if I don't want to have to pause the project, come back to council, ask for $5,000 more. I did hear notified about the taxes on the quote for the paperwork. I looked into that when Lieutenant Sleep presented to me. I said, we're tax exempt, can you get that removed? For quote purposes, that company wouldn't do it. That's just set up in their program. So when the work is done and we receive our final invoice, it'll have the tax removed. And if not, then obviously we'd contact them and say it needs to be removed. So I'm hoping this is the approval for up to 135. I don't think we'll need that much. But that's what I've done the last couple of years is kind of add for a little extra in case there's an issue that comes up. But I don't anticipate any issues with this. We've had the similar computers, just not the updated ones. Clemis, everything's good. So we should be good with that.
And I just got some clarifying questions. This price, everything included is installing into our vehicles, getting the software installed. So all this includes, our IT director just get to put his thumbs up. He don't have to really get in there and do the work.
Yes, yeah, so it is, it's not this typical, like I have a MacBook at home that I love, but we can't use anything like that. We go with this, so. I do have one thing if I can add to, when this started, it's a big price increase in my budget that I wasn't planning on having. So we did start looking into grants. We do have one grant application out there toward this. We were told we're past the second stage of cuts and we're still in the running for it, which is $100,000. It's a reimbursement grant, so we buy this in our budget, in the approved budget that you passed last week or 2 weeks ago. If we get approved this grant, we just get a check for $100,000 right to finance. So we're hoping that we can get that back, and that'd be a huge portion of the expense.
Well, I'll definitely be in support of this. I do know October 14th this year, Windows 10 expire, and and this is more, the new software needs to be upgraded because of the hardware, because of you need a certain chipset. And because of that certain chipset, a lot of people that's running Windows 10 not really able to upgrade to Windows 11, and unfortunately, our police department is being affected by that. So I will support this. I just want to make sure that the city know that the price tag that we see is higher because this is the police department. The laptops are rugged, and they come pre-installed with all the software that they need. And they do not use just one software. They use multiple software to make sure our city is safe and secure. And this is going to save us some time where our director won't have to do that heavy lifting. So I will be supportive. I just wanted to make sure that was clarified and that people understand where this money is really going to. So thank you for that.
Thank you. There's also some federal guidelines too, because we have access to the national system for warrants and driver's license. There's a lot of protections, regulations we have to show. And then when it's all said and done, when the project's complete, every one of those invoices gets forwarded directly to finance. So when finance will pay that, it'll go up on the vouchers here. So it's all there in the paper, so.
One last clarifying question. When picking these laptops, you only had 2 vendors you can go to because of Clemens.
Yes, I believe Lieutenant Sleep, there was only 2 that Clemens would approve us to, and we got to choose from that. And we've had great success with the Dell product that's aged and we still love it, so we figured why change, we're just gonna stay with Dell.
Okay. And that's all I have. Sorry for taking up all the time.
Okay, anything further, supporter?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chief, for explaining that. I think a lot of times when people look at 30 laptops for that price tag, of course, eyebrows go up because your first instinct is, why are we spending that much on laptops? But just explaining with the software, the printer, the docking, the install, I mean, all that has a price tag included in what we're spending. So the only really question that I received from residents was the items that are currently in, the laptops that are currently in your police cars, because it has a Windows 10, can they be used for anything else, either at the police department or just in general? Or are we just throwing them away?
I think we'll be recycling those properly through, because of all the information that's on there. And
Sure.
we don't want that to get out, so.
Gotcha, okay. So just for those at home that are watching, your information that's on there is going to be essentially destroyed. So I wanted to make sure we got that on the record, because that was what individuals were asking, is if we can't use them, what happens to all the information on there? So that's good to know, and I will be also supporting this item
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Chief. I'm going to direct my comment and question, however, to our IT Director, Ms. Director Brown. I'm not a Windows user, so forgive me. However, buying these new laptops, I know we had made quite an investment a little bit of time ago. What is the likelihood that here comes, I don't know, Windows 12, and now these are obsolete? Is there a longer lifespan with the upcoming window upgrades that would be happening? What can we expect, I suppose, as the lifespan of these laptops?
So, through the chair, that's a great question. We can thank Microsoft for this question. The machines, I took a look at myself, I vetted the specifications on it. Whenever I look at equipment, I look at like the chipsets and whatnot to see what level of compatibility they could have potentially in the future. As the chief said, there's only a couple of ruggedized laptops that are even manufactured at this point, and Dell is one of the better ones out there and the best price point. So I would anticipate we're going to get at least 6 years out of these machines, but it's all up in the air based off of what Microsoft says. The machines physically will be good much longer than 6 years based off the specifications that we chose. But the software that runs the operating system itself is what's defining our issues because of cybersecurity concerns related to it. I can say 5 to 6 years for it to be perfectly fine, no issues. It'll be practically brand new at the end of that. But if Microsoft sits there and says, hey, we got Microsoft Windows 12 and it's going to be super awesome, and we have to change.
Right, yeah.
So-
Well, I appreciate that, Director Brown. You know, there's obviously a business case for having to have these computers within the squad cars. So, you know, it kind of goes without saying that we want you to have them and want to be equipped. You know, it's just unfortunate when you are working with technology that sometimes it moves faster than we do, right? So I'm in support of it, and I like hearing what the director said. We're going to have a few years of lifespan on them. I just wish we would have had like a little bit more fair warning so that some of the newer vehicles, when we either transferred computers or had to outfit those, that we had a few less that maybe we didn't have to outfit. But we can thank Microsoft, as the director said. So thank you, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business 1D, formerly consent calendar item H, approval of purchase of 4 motorcycles for the police department.
Support. Motion by Councilwoman Nowakowski, supported by Councilman Hart. Is there discussion from the make?
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, this was something that was presented in the capital outlay for the upcoming fiscal year. I think it's been quite some time since we've actually acquired new motorcycles for the police department. If anybody got to enjoy the cruise this weekend, I got to see them in action, so that was nice to see them, you know, go full lights and I don't know, do they make sirens? I didn't hear it, but we were driving and looking at the classic cars and got to see them. So sometimes people think motorcycle, and they think it's in a purely parade or figurative use, but they clearly are patrol vehicles that the city uses. So once again, there's a business case for it. It's in the budget. I think we're doing 4 this year, and correct me if I'm incorrect, and 4 the following year. It's the hope.
I think it was originally 2 and 2, and then council made a change to 4, which, thank you. But I think the 4 will be good at one-time purchase for several
Wonderful.
years.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chief, and
Thank you.
I'm sure the officers will enjoy the new vehicles, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anything from the supporter? Okay, any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business, item 1E, formerly consent calendar item B, approval of request from B. Paul of Texas Roadhouse at 36750 Ford Road for a temporary event permit to host an event in their parking lot, to host a live music special event in their parking lot, on July 13th, 2025, from 9:30 PM until 11 PM.
Is there a motion?
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Baumann, supported by Councilwoman Rakowski. Is there any discussion from the maker?
Just through the chair, I would just like to have the traffic question answered of any concerns for this.
Yeah, Chief, if you want to take that. Thank you.
Yeah, so when I think it was Mo that sent over the information on it, I did look it over. I think with the timing of everything, and especially the let-out's going to be later at night, closer to 11, I think the traffic is light enough on Ford. I don't see any significant concern. I mean, it'd be a slight in change, but I think it'll be okay. That's what I signed up. When I sent the response back, I think it was okay to support it.
All set, Councilwoman? Okay, anything from the supporter?
No.
Okay, any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business, item 1F, formerly consent calendar item C, approval of request from Texas Roadhouse to waive the special event application fee regarding their event on July 13th, 2025.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Rakowski, supported by Councilwoman Baumann. Any discussion from the maker?
I just look forward to their event. It's been exciting to see some of the restaurants around town start doing these larger events. There was one a couple of years ago that was on Warren Road, and they had a wonderful turnout. And I think it's going to be exciting for the residents, and anything that drives people to our area is fantastic, so.
All right, anything from the supporter? Any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing and hearing none, motion passes.
All right, now we are on new business, item number 1, approval of resolution authorizing settlement of Davidson versus, oh, nope, sorry, yep.
How could you?
New business. All right, let's do that over again. New business, item number 2, approval of agreement between the City of Westland and the Municipal Service Bureau, MSB, for Westland Communications Department, including WLND, if approved, authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Is there a motion?
For the sake of the conversation.
Motion by Councilwoman Rakowski, supported by Councilwoman Baumann. Is there discussion from the maker?
Not at this time.
Okay. Is there discussion from the supporter?
Not at this time, I'll hold.
Okay. I would imagine there's going to be some additional discussion from the council. So, Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Pro Tem first.
So in terms of this agreement, the MSB agreement, my concerns of the contract is that there's no director in place. So currently, what the administration is recommending is to take these individuals, the 4 individuals that currently are community media employees, and put them under MSB, which is an arm, I guess, of the administration. So my concern is that I had asked the mayor and the administration at a study session, what's going on with WLND. Oh, we're working on it. That was on 5/3. Then on 5/28, I sent an email, nothing. 6/2, nothing. 6/6, nothing. also at leadership meetings. So the contract that we received, or the agreement that we received, is not an agreement that I feel is ideal with no director in place. Every other department has a director. So I am looking to make a motion to make some agreements that essentially fill the gap until a director and an LLC come into play. So I would like to make changes, if I may, to the current
Make
contract.
a motion, absolutely.
Yep, I would like to make a motion to do that.
You got to tell us what the motion is. What are the
So,
changes?
how best, because there's quite a few of them, can everyone pull up the contract? So we can make them so they can follow along? I just want to ensure.
Probably memorialize them verbally in this.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that then. I just want to make sure that everyone's looking at them, because there's quite a few.
It's in the packet.
Okay, in terms of the contract, in paragraph number 2, whereas MSB has the ability to make recommendations for key personnel, that's the first one. There's another paragraph that will be added. MSB will keep the 4 current full-time employees with paid benefits. New positions will come in front of City Council for consideration and upon City Council approval. The next paragraph will read, "It is essential that contractual arrangements reflect transparency and equitable participation, particularly regarding the engagement of MSB employees in activities involving City Council members and Westland elected officials." The next one goes down under scope of work and direction. As a director has not been appointed for this, MSB personnel will be directed and managed by city-appointed director of communications or his/her designee. Another section which would be created is community involvement and programming requirements. A, MSB employees assigned to serve the city must be expected to work with City Council a minimum of 15 hours per week and for appropriate programs, events, and community engagement efforts. B, in the absence of a director, MSB employees must be responsible for equally covering city events, programs that Westland elected officials are involved in, ensuring consistent representation and support. Letter C. MSB shall ensure that these involvement requirements are adhered to as part of their service delivery, supporting the city's engagement with its residents and officials. D, all MSB employees assigned to work on the city projects must successfully undergo a comprehensive background check prior to engaging in city-related activities to ensure suitability and security. Under number 6, saving clause, if any provision of this agreement is held invalid by law or trivial, the remaining, we're going to strike that. Okay, the MS Board shall promptly address any issues to arrive at a satisfactory resolution and replacement. And then number 8, the entire agreement. This document constitutes the entire agreement between the parties and supersedes any prior agreements or understanding. It may only be amended or modified by a written instrument signed by both parties. And the rest is the same.
Okay, thank you. Just taking notes on that. Okay, there is a motion on the floor, so the discussion, keep in mind, is on this motion. Attorney Grisco, did you have something that you saw your light pop on?
Well, so just generally speaking, I know we've had lots of discussion about this within the context of the study session that was open to the public. I do have some concerns about making sort of these changes on the fly, but would wonder if the council would reconsider just to ensure the continuity of services, continuity for the employees and such like, given what we talked about regards the 30-day termination clause, whether or not it might be appropriate to go back to the document that's in the packet that both sides, in terms of the city administration and the MSB, have already approved. And then, to the extent there's issues, those can be worked out, and there's still that 30-day out clause as a possibility.
Hey, real quick.
This is on the motion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
this
is a
is
motion. I
Right.
don't know why
The
we're,
comment's got to be on the motion.
yeah, This is not
So we-
consideration.
right.
This is a motion.
Well, I think it does directly relate to that.
You're right. Is there support for the motion? Thank you, Councilman, for clarifying. Did somebody say support? There's no. Support. Support by Councilman Hart, so now we can continue discussion. Councilman Hornbuckle, did you have?
And I just wanted to let
On
you
the
know that
motion.
it was a motion on
Yeah.
the floor.
We didn't have support, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. Councilwoman Bautman, your light's on?
For the same thing, but does the maker get more work?
Do you have anything to add?
I mean, I.
If you have something to add, Councilwoman.
Yeah,
please.
if you want to, I mean, I can speak after it. I mean, unfortunately, the discussion had to carry over to here. I didn't want it to get to this point, but feel free. No.
Keep in mind, this is on the motion only, not the whole agenda items. Is there any additional discussion on the motion?
I mean, yes.
You have discussion.
I do want to make mention that there's this amendment to a contract that was in our public document, was seen by me minutes, just within the last hour. So I did not have time to see this amendment before today, and there is some concern that was raised about timing of things, and I get that, and I can appreciate that we have people that need, that we need to do something. I'm going to say, as it stands right now, I'm not going to be supporting this amendment because there was not enough time to, and it was not disclosed to anyone, at least that I know of, before this. I don't know who it was disclosed to before, but it was not disclosed to me, and it makes it very difficult to all these little pieces and look at them. So I just have to say that.
Yes, Britain.
Yeah, no, and that's completely fine, Councilwoman. Obviously, you have the ability to support. My major concern right now is without an absence of a director, there's no direction for the department. With that being said, they're being pulled in many different directions. There's been times that they don't know who to report to. They support city council, they support the administration. I came and I had asked them for a picture, and they were said, the mayor's secretary said no, they couldn't take a picture of me. So we're just asking for city council to have representation. Another thing too is I had asked for an event that I was doing with many different other elected officials, and they were told by the mayor's office that they couldn't come and cover the event. So we're just asking for equal representation of all city council members as your elected officials, for us to go out, do events, support you, support your causes. So unfortunately, I don't want to have to put things in writing, but the problem is if you don't put things in writing, it doesn't happen. So with that being said, like I had asked the administration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times in writing, just for the contract, we haven't got it. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that there'll be a contract in place. I did ask for a job description, and unfortunately, the job description is for an individual. It's not for an LLC. So I'd asked the mayor, are we doing an LLC? Are we doing a director? There's so much unknown right now, and we're kind of stuck in limbo. So that's kind of my concern, which is why I brought all these amendments to the table.
One second, I'm going to, Councilman Murkowski's light on, then I'm going to get to you, Mayor.
Oh.
Okay. Mayor, and keep in mind this discussion
Yeah, I
is on the
don't
motion.
think the city council should be making accusations without substantiating them. So secretaries don't decide who gets pictures taken of them. So I just want to make that clear to everybody. That was untrue.
That's
and
not
false.
untrue.
Yes, secretaries don't decide what events get covered. And we cover every city event fairly. So just want to clarify that. There's no substantiation to that.
That's unfortunately, you
Okay.
weren't here,
Okay,
so.
this has to be on the, discussion has to be on the motion
it's
that's on the
fine.
floor
He just
here.
made an accusation
The
that's not
discussion
true
has to be on
himself.
both sides, has to be on,
You let him say it, Council President, but you're not letting
No.
him respond.
go ahead.
So unfortunately, again, I'm not going to go back and forth with you. That's exactly what happened. There was an opportunity to have a picture taken here at City Hall. WLND asked your Secretary Faith if she can, because you weren't here, if a picture could be taken, and she said, no, you have to leave immediately. You cannot take a picture. So if you decide that that's Okay, I'm not going to argue with you on the dais. Unfortunately, that's what happened. I was here. So I was here. You'd be more than happy to speak with WL&D mayor, and they can confirm that's exactly what happened.
I think we
Thank you.
should
Is
let's stick to the
Councilwoman Finn,
contract
are you-
in front of
hold on.
us.
Mayor, hold on. Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay. The discussion has to be on the motion that is on the floor. Is there additional discussion on the motion with the amended changes that is on the floor? Is there additional discussion? Is there dissent? Yes. Dissent. Okay. Roll call.
So this is to amend the MSB WL&D contract. Yes, we're voting on. Okay. Councilwoman Baumann? No. Councilman Hart?
Yes.
Councilman Horn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Wisher?
Yes.
Pro Tem Sammy?
Yes.
Council President Durman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now we have to go back to the original motion as amended. Is there discussion on the original motion?
Council President?
Yes.
Just want to maybe caution City Council that if an amended contract is approved right now, there's no guarantee that the MSB board will also approve it. There's also no guarantee that I will sign it and execute it on behalf of the city. So you just have to be aware of what you're doing here. To create a new contract on the fly that hasn't been reviewed by our legal department, we are not proposing, just so people know, we're not proposing changing any staff members. We have 4 staff members in that department. There was actually, and I explained this at the last meeting, there was an unfortunate death of our former director, Terry Packer. And I feel that this is a little bit of a inefficient way to handle city business. We have proposed a contract that the Municipal Services Bureau has already approved. It would retain the current staff and the current coverage of city events and functions. With this current contract through an LLC, there's quite a bit of waste of city funds. So this proposal that we put forward save about $200,000 per year right off the bat. So I just want to kind of caution council that there's no guarantee that this current staff would be maintained with some kind of contract that's just created on the fly right here during a meeting. This was not proposed to the mayor's office prior to this meeting, and kind of like Councilwoman Emily Baumann pointed out, there really was no transparency here with the way this was handled tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Baumann.
Thank you. I'm very concerned because we have some employees that we want to keep on with our communications organization, and that was the reason why this was there. I do remember a year ago, we did discuss the fact that there was going to be some discussion about a communication, and I will admit, I did not bring forward anything to talk about with this, and it started showing up at the budget sessions. So there has been some time, but to have a contract and then to have an amendment, I'm not comfortable with that. But at the same time, my question goes back to, so as Mayor mentioned, that if we change a contract, it has to go through the right process. If you change a contract, it has to be reviewed by legal, reviewed by the parties that are signing it, which are the city and MSB. And if they're not approving on the points that are being asked, then there is no contract. And we have employees that don't have a job at the end of the month. And that is very concerning to me because, so my question ultimately is there a way to do something that should this, should something happen or whatever, or that we can protect our employees if this doesn't go well, or what is the, because I know how contract negotiations can go, and if it's not comfortable, so I don't know if that's an attorney question or if that's through chair to the mayor, but I personally want to have assurances that our employee, that these people who have their service in and do a really good job are protected.
Council President. Yeah, so,
Attorney's office, hold on, one second. Did the
That was a-
attorney's office want to address that, the question that she asked? Or the mayor?
As I understood it, I mean, I guess the part that I picked up on was the part about how negotiating contracts works, but I mean, obviously, there's no guarantee that the MSB would approve the as-amended contract, and so I don't know what the legal question was exactly, and maybe Councilwoman can rephrase it, but that obviously is a possibility here.
well, the question was can the employees be retained? If there's no contract, then the answer is no. But really, my question back to City Council, and particularly Councilwoman Sampe, would be, if you're so concerned about a director being hired, why not approve this contract and give us time to hire a director? You know there was a death in the department, and it's unfortunate that we're being rushed on an artificial timeline here to hire somebody. Let's approve this contract, maintain the employees we have, and then do a proper search for a qualified director so that we can continue the services that everybody expects and relies on in our city for the great work and information that they put forward.
Since you named me, I am very concerned about this department, which is why I've led the charge in email conversations to you specifically, in multiple different emails, personal conversations. In fact, on the study session on May 3rd, your deputy director, you weren't here at that study session, he sat in your spot and he had said, we're looking on LinkedIn. I said, is there a job description, a job posting? Nothing. Actually, my colleague actually asked him about a director in silence, and he put his head down, nothing. So my concern is that you had ample opportunity to be reviewing, and I'm asking you as a council member who's very concerned in this department. I have a degree in this department, so I understand the amount of time and effort and expertise that goes into this, that I want to make sure that we retain them. There's 4 current full-time employees, which is why in this contract, I have this listed. I'm confused why the MSB, which is included of your Deputy Director Godbout, Kyle Mulligan, Steve Smith, and Mr. Mayfield, why you wouldn't approve this. The only addition is that council members are able to get ample time as 7 elected officials, because right now there's been some blocking. And then on top of that, we want to retain these people. If there's any new positions that are created, you can come in front of council and say that the positions are needed. It has no bearing right now to block these people. We're actually saying we would like to retain them to keep their positions intact. So I'm trying to understand why there would be any dissent on this from the MSB group at this point, unless you just don't want city council to be a part of the day-to-day of supporting our residents and being able to be active with WLND, or now what we call MSB.
Well, you made the claim that certain events weren't covered by our current department, and then you're putting at risk maintaining those same employees. So you're really not being specific about what the issue you have with our current employees are and what the arrangement is, because, I'll wait till you guys are done talking. Yep, so you're coming up with new contract language on the fly. It's been pointed out by one of your colleagues. Wasn't reviewed by anybody prior to this meeting. Wasn't reviewed by the city attorney's office. Again, there's no guarantee MSB would approve it. There's no guarantee I would execute it. So I'm just going to be honest with you. We'd save a whole heck of a lot of money if this current contract that we proposed is approved. We'd have the same staff that we currently have. You're claiming that certain events that you wanted covered weren't covered. I don't know what those are, and you haven't named them. You haven't been specific. You just threw that out there, so I don't know if that's true or not. No, but we got to be real here, and we got to be honest with each other, because we're here in front of the whole community, and we're making big decisions.
Of course. That's why we're having a discussion.
So let's be
today.
transparent.
Point your finger
Stop.
at me, order, please.
Yes.
Thank you. I've requested the opportunity to speak and haven't been granted it, because people are talking out of turn. Okay, number one, The individuals are not currently employees, they're contractors. They are members of Community Media LLC. So we're not retaining employees. We're creating job positions for them under MSB so that they can execute their jobs that they have been doing for quite some time as talented individuals. Fair. Okay. In terms of key positions, during the study session, this question was raised, and the answer was, sometimes we have to hire other people to do other things. I think what the consensus at the time, not even I think, the consensus by the council during the study session was to retain the 4 contractors previously and currently of Community Media LLC at their current scope of work, and to not be including additional people in that department without some sort of oversight. And key to that would be the background check. Additionally, those other key positions would be additional contractors. So just like when you have a business or even just at your home and you hire a caterer, they're not your employee. That's a contract. You execute a contract. So those other people that come in and do additional photography, videography, editing, whatever it may be, newsletter writing, those are contractors. So that strikes them from the agreement. Then we're taking the $606,000 that is allocated in this year's fiscal budget, and we have divided it by the number 12, which is the number of months that are in a year. And that came out to, sorry, please hold because we have notes. $50,531.93 a month. So if we've budgeted $606,000 and we've divided that by 12 and we got $50,531.93, we're in essence currently not saving anything. The scope of the contract hasn't changed. What has changed within the contract is simply identifying some of the division of time spent. And that was brought by Councilwoman Sampe due to some of the experiences she has had. But the scope in terms of their wages, the benefits package, and those particular 4 individuals who are currently contractors under Community Media LLC, not our current employees, it has been such that she felt that that was important. So for the MSB, of which the mayor does not sit, but his deputy mayor does sit, for it to be said that they are immediately not going to accept this contract, I don't know if that would be completely factual, because the scope of the terms of the agreement really haven't changed other than trying to have those 4 individuals continue a relationship with the city of Westland, now as employees under the MSB, which is a nonprofit branch of the city of Westland, and also identify, because they don't have a director at the current time, what their scope of work is and how they might be able to divide their coverage. That is the difference in the contract. The contract doesn't change the hours of their employment, the dates of their employment, the compensation of their employment, or the benefits of their employment. So all of the things that would naturally form an agreement between 2 parties hasn't been changed, except for the fact that we're trying to say that the people who have dedicated a great portion of their lives under community media representing the city and all of its communications, because they have, I mean, anytime emergency information even goes out, it's with these folks. When we were all at home being quarantined from COVID, they were coming in and releasing information to you. So, I think that's where the good councilwoman is coming from. The scope really hasn't changed. So the idea that the contract just wouldn't be accepted, I think is not a factual statement. Now, they could choose not to. They absolutely could choose not to. However, the scope of the contract hasn't been changed. Now, we talk about artificial timelines. Well, I think the real challenge is that we're in a new fiscal year. And last fiscal year, this was brought to our attention. So it isn't incumbent upon the 7 people up here to bring forward, we need the director of communications, right? That is an administrative task. And they've taken that on just like he would hire any other director or contractor. They go out and find it. Sometimes they put them to bid. Sometimes professional services don't need bids. There's a lot of stuff that just really goes into that. But we've known for a year that we needed to make a change between the current LLC and contract holder and the, I hate to use, I'm not even going to use the term, the end date that's closely coming, and that's July 1st. So we've had from July 1st of last year until the upcoming, really it's midnight of June 30th, but we've had a year. There's no artificiality within that year. That year has existed. We're in a new fiscal year. We voted on the previous fiscal year and we voted on the new fiscal year. So if it's the administration's responsibility to have a contractor in that spot, then we've had a year to do that. So the fact that a contract is just now being presented to council is in fact an artificial timeline, because now this is the last time the council will meet before that end date. So it's been presented in such a way that it's either, I don't want to say to your head, but our backs are up against the wall, pass it, or we don't know what's going to happen. That's the creation of an artificial timeline, friends. I am very sad that Mr. Packer passed, and I'm very sad that Mr. Walkenbacher passed. But we have a duty, we knew a year ago, several administrations, we knew a year ago that this change had to occur. And for it to be June 16th of 2025, that we have to make this decision, that's an artificial timeline, friends. And that, I think, is more unsettling to me than the fact that somebody wants to make adjustments to a contract to protect 4 people who have dedicated their lives to the city. Yep, they're not police officers, yep, they're not firefighters, but they are people who are instrumental in making sure you got information. They're instrumental in making sure you know what's going on. And, none of this is wonderful because we're talking about something that's happened because our friends passed. So the artificial timeline, I don't like that language. We've had a year. I think the amendments are friendly, and they are, in essence, trying to say, because there's not a director, let's make sure that there is some kind of direction. And yes, there is a 30-day clause that works both ways. So in my opinion, and I've already voted, I think that's fair. I think the MSB could look at this and feel that it's fair as well. At no point has the council said they will be paid X. At no point did we say they can only work X amount of hours, that they can only have this kind of health care. Those aren't our negotiations to make. But if we can protect those people that have dedicated time with simple amendments that do not change the entire scope of a contract, that keeps it basically the same, then I think that there's no reason for the MSB not to support this. But please, other than that, the back and forth on the dais really just needs to stop. Because if we have grievances, let's try to air them as adults. But, when I think it's absolutely ridiculous for people to be up here calling one another liars. We're grown people. We've been asked to represent everyone in the city. Let's try to work things out in a more adult fashion. And let's also recognize that when we have a year to do something, that we don't wait until the last meeting before the deadline to complete it.
Yeah, I'm not going to tolerate,
One-
I'm not going to tolerate
Mayor,
accusations.
Hold on, Mayor, we have
Well, I was in
council,
the middle of my comments when she started speaking.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tolerate accusations.
okay, hold
I'm
on.
not going to tolerate accusations that are
Excuse
not
me, point of order.
substantiated.
I was recognized by the chair of the meeting, which is the president of
This
the
is the council
Westland
meeting.
City Council.
We have council members waiting.
I
Mayor?
had the
We're not
floor.
going to tolerate accusations.
Fair, Mayor, understand that. Councilman Hart, your light has been on, you've been waiting patiently. And then Councilwoman Baumann, you're next, you've been waiting patiently as well.
Wow, okay. First of all, I think Councilwoman Rakowski stole a lot of my points, so thank you. It means people have to listen to me less. But one thing, a couple things she hit on is this doesn't change much. All it does is it gives the council 15 hours a week that they can go ahead and approach WLND for some programming as well. What it does also is Councilwoman Sampe and Councilwoman Rakowski are trying to make sure that we're conserving the individuals that are WLND now, okay? It doesn't increase spending, all right? It doesn't put their job at risk, okay? It does retain those individuals. And I've just kind of sat here quietly because I think we can all just accept the things that were said, but a couple things did kind of lob off, and I'm going to call them political spin. Okay, there was a lot of spin. There was spin about, why are you putting us against the wall at the last minute? I'm like, well, how does it feel to have the shoe in the other foot? It's been done to this council a number of times over the past couple of years, okay? The CDBG budget happened twice to us, 2 years in a row. You know, backs against the wall, approve it. You know the train was coming down the track a year ago. And then we kicked the can down the road, And then Terry Packer comes in. Well, quite frankly, it never should have gone 6 months before Terry Packer came in, and then we're talking about maybe moving it. We were outside of charter the second that occurred. That's a big deal, okay? So, and we just allowed it to happen. And frankly, I take the council as a little culpable. We should have been louder. We should have been more adamant about it, okay? But the administration drives that. So here we are. This is the council's first bite at this apple, truly. And today's June 16th, right? We have no more meetings for the end of this fiscal year. So this is our first chance we just had a study session on it before this meeting. Okay, it's the first time we've actually had to be able to deliberate about it. Had to cut it short because there was a couple study sessions stacked up. So I think some things were said, but we didn't make any ground. This should have been to us beforehand, okay? I don't think this is like some monumental idea that came out of nowhere, all right? It makes sense moving them over to MSB, okay? But I don't know why that idea just became so grand, you know, within the past 7 days. All right? I feel like this was planned, okay? In my heart, and I believe that. This was an idea they had a while ago, and we're just now getting it. And I want to not believe it's true, but it's really hard to not do that after what we've seen the past couple times with put the council against the ropes, they'll have no choice but to approve, and if they don't, we'll make it their fault. Sounds good, right? That's what it kind of feels like, okay? I'm not making an insinuation. That's how I feel, all right? So Councilwoman Sampe made some friendly amendments, put nothing at risk, put no budget at risk, spending no more money, actually making sure to secure those individuals that are WLND already with the history and the experience of the city. It makes everything equitable, and I thought that was reasonable. Now, if the MSB chooses not to approve it, well, that's within their right. Then they're going to have to come back to council, all right? That's an uncomfortable spot to be in for them, and then we'll just have to be here too. But this all could have been avoided, and I don't think Councilwoman Sampe, Councilwoman Rakowski, and a couple other council members feel like this is really fair to us. It was kind of shoved down our throat at the last minute, right? Again, so I'll be supportive of the change. I would hope that the MSB meets us that way. But if not, I guess the MSB will have to go ahead and put something else together so that we can all get, because if the goal is to retain them and keep community media going, then there's going to have to be some come together, all right? So this whole last minute, well, if you don't approve it, it's on you. It's like the last guy who touched the soccer ball before it goes out of bounds kind of thing, okay? So we got to stop doing that. And I do agree, it was pretty unprofessional here, Council President. I expect more from this council, and I know you do too, so let's see it, okay? Thank you, those are my comments.
Thank you. Councilman Hart, Councilwoman Baumann.
Thank you. And I will definitely echo that the whole process, I mean, like, as I mentioned, we knew this a year ago. I do believe that council does have a responsibility that if we're looking for something, we should be reminding and saying, being a little more aggressive earlier than a month before. And I was not doing this, I'm going to admit that. With that being said, now that I have had a little time to have a cursory review of the amendment that is there, which I did not have before this, before I could vote, I have a question, because I keep hearing that it's not fundamentally changing to the existing contract. And so my question is, because it's not clear, just so everyone knows what I'm seeing, and I know no one in the public is getting to see this at all before we have to vote on it, but I'm not seeing what the change, what is different, what those things, a lot of times when I see contracts where someone has an amendment, they only put in what they're actually making changes to, not the entire thing. So I'm having to kind of match up a little bit. So my question, through the chair to my colleague, is what are the core changes? Because what I think, in my cursory review, it appears, and I would like to have a question follow up to this after I get the answer to that. I'd like to have time back to follow up to this question. It appears in my, like I said, cursory look, is that the change really is in that 3A, under community involvement and programming requirements, the change that says MSB employees assigned to serve the city must be expected to work a minimum of 15 hours per week directly with city council members for appropriate programming events and community engagement efforts. I'd like to know if there's anything else besides that that's actually changed between the original contract and the amendment.
Did you want to respond since you were named?
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'm going to send you the yellow line copy. I'm sorry I didn't send that in the amendment, so you can take a look at it. Everything's highlighted. That way it will help you match up what is missing. So I just sent that to you right now, just so you can take a look at it.
Okay, so.
And you can continue on, Councilwoman.
Okay, so what I'd like to actually do, because if we're going to do math, one of my concerns, as I did take a look at this briefly, was if I calculate 15 hours per week, and it says minimum of 15 hours per week, and I time it by 7, not that this is ever going to happen, but there's a lot of conversation was taken earlier that there's some vagueness, and we want some concrete stuff. But if I take 15 hours minimum per week times 7 council members, that's 105 hours. That is not, for me, that's not acceptable. So I appreciate what the sentiment is about having this, that city council has some stuff, but I guess I'm not comfortable with it saying directly with city council members and the risk. So I guess my suggestion is to reconsider the amendment and to remove that or modify that clause there so that we can get a contract passed that is mostly like the original.
Is that a question asked back to her?
I actually made a motion to reconsider.
We asked her to.
We're
I know.
discussing the original motion.
Right.
So,
And I can do that in the scope of the thing.
yes, did you want to respond on the motion to reconsider regarding that language specifically,
It has
which
to be
was?
seconded, it's not seconded yet.
It's not second, sorry. Is there, I apologize. Is there support? For the sake of discussion, I will support it. Now, we are on the motion to reconsider, which includes the language regarding the 15-hour
And I'm
requirement.
Specifically talking about that piece, right? My motion consider is specifically related to that piece.
Specific to that piece, does the maker of the original motion, which includes that piece, saw your light was on, want to comment?
Just to clarify on your motion for that, it's collectively. So it's not 15 hours per person.
Yes,
It wouldn't be a rescinding of a motion, it would be an amendment.
amendment, that's true.
The amendment.
Amendment to an
So you'd be
amendment.
making an amendment to the original
It was already
motion
passed.
that was made.
It's already passed.
Yes, you're making an amendment to the motion that was passed, though.
I thought it was reconsider, but. okay.
And your amendment would,
Rescinding is removing.
right,
I'm
it-
not-
remove it
I'm
entirely.
not rescinding the motion.
You want to amend it?
I'm not rescinding it.
Yeah, you want,
said reconsider.
Yes, I'm reconsidering the motion that was made to amendment.
I think the proper
We have a
language would be to make an amendment to the original
Through the
amendment.
Through the chair, I think it, parliamentary procedure, Mr. Hart is.
Yes.
May I, Council President?
Yes, go ahead.
So the amendment was made,
Yep.
okay?
and was passed.
So once that amendment passed, that is now the motion, okay? if Councilwoman Bowman chooses to restrict another line off of it, it's not recalling the
that's fine.
amendment, it is making another amendment to the amendment, okay? Just that we're on
Okay.
procedural
All right,
rails
that's
here,
fine.
okay?
That's fine. Not take it off.
Very
Okay,
good.
So I will make a motion to amend the amended agreement to remove 3A from that amendment with the, in order to pass the agreement, and knowing that we can actually, we have the opportunity to make a change within 30 days as well, because we have, it's a 30-day contract, I believe, or something. So, I mean, and, okay, maybe a motion to amend to clarify that it is a maximum of 15 hours for the council, or some, I don't know how to, I'm going to throw this out.
I'm going to make a friendly on this
Thank
one, if
you.
you don't mind.
Thank you.
You want the language to specifically say council in totality, the amendment to say, in total, council shall get 15 hours access to programming in this contract. Because I think you're saying, because your original, what you brought up when you made the motion was regarding 15 hours for each council person. The intent of that motion, and I think the intent of what you're trying to clarify, is 15 hours in totality for the council, correct? So you would want language that clarifies that? And it's really an up to,
I'm,
it's not a demand, it's an up to.
Would it be reasonable to say 15 hours for city council et al., ETAL, meaning 15 hours per week for the city council in its totality? Not per member, but as a collective body, as a department, if you will. And I think that's really what the spirit of what was written is.
And I really appreciate the spirit, I do. And I know I shouldn't be discussing because it's not been seconded at all.
Well, because there hasn't been a motion.
There hasn't been a formal motion to make, so we're still on the original.
I'm struggling because I understand the spirit, and I get it, and I can support that, but there's so much vagueness, like, there's scheduling, there's, who gets the 15, what if we hit 15, what if we hit 20? For me, I'm struggling on the vagueness, and I want to support the spirit, I really do. I'm trying to explain that, but I don't want it so loose, and it's like, it does have to be, fairly, which is why, one thought I had was 15 hours per council member per month. I could make that motion. Motion would be 15 hours per council member per month, but I don't know if that's going to get supported.
So that's, and I'm going to comment here before a motion is made, because I haven't really had the opportunity to do so. So I have a few things to share. So thank you, first off, everybody, for sharing your thoughts. I do feel like, and I agree with what Councilman Hart said, that I feel like 2 weeks before July, and what you said as well, our backs are up against the wall in making this decision. And I understand that normally, procedurally, we don't want to make changes on the dais to a contract. And in 99% of other times and occasions, we wouldn't want to do that. But, we're, I think, running low on time here. And I, too, would have liked to have seen something related to this MSB contract come to us a month or some period of time sooner than that. We obviously suffered a horrible event here twice over, and our team and community media and the administration, the council, and the city had to deal with the tragic passing of Director Welkenbach, and then the tragic and very sudden passing of Director Packer. And, as an interim solution, which I think this is and can be a very good solution to make sure that 4 of our team members, our colleagues, if you will, stay employed, is noble and worthy and worth pursuing, and I think all of us up here want to pursue that. I do feel like we're kind of backed up having to make this decision yes or no tonight. Now, of course, whatever amendments we do or don't end up finally approving here tonight will go back to MSB, and it can be rejected or it can be approved. That's going to be, their prerogative, and we don't, as a council, have control over that. If it isn't approved, then we will be back here with a special meeting of some kind, because we do not want to let 4 very talented, incredibly hardworking, dedicated individuals be unemployed for any length of time. We want it to be a smooth and seamless transition between where they're at currently and going to MSB. So I support the spirit of what the original motion was trying to do, even if I feel like we were backed up. My colleague called me earlier in the day. It would have been nice to have this, sooner. I do agree with that. So I think that's fair to say. But again, it also would have been nice to have the totality of what we're voting on with the MSB idea sooner than tonight's meeting as well. I supported some of these changes because we have had, and I'm going to say this and then get to my point here. I'm not trying to be accusatory when I say this, and I think we need to tamp that down at this meeting. And I agree, thank you for, bringing that up, pointing that out. And it is my responsibility on both ends, whether the administration to council, council to the administration, to make sure that we have a fair and well-run meeting and tamp that down. So when I say my next comment, I do not want to make this as an accusation towards any one particular person, but I think that there have been situations in the past under prior administrations where people feel that they were not treated equitably with the time they were given on WLND. And I think that there have been instances where some people feel like if they had a programming idea, it didn't always get through to the, editing room floor and then ultimately broadcast out. Not naming names, I'm not saying that any person in particular is responsible for that to happen, but I think that there has been that feeling, including amongst council members, former council members who are not on this dais and on this council anymore, with that feeling. So I understand the spirit of the language with regards to the time allotment. I would support an amendment to that language specifically that Councilwoman Baumann is talking about to provide clarity as far as that is 15 hours in totality, not just 15 hours per person or vague so we don't know, how it's being interpreted. So I would support if you're looking to potentially make a motion to change that language with regards to the time allotment. So I would be in support of, doing something like that if a motion was to be made to clear up the time allotment in terms of council's involvement.
I'm going to try this. It's probably writing. My motion is to amend 3A to read, MSB employees assigned to serve the city may work a minimum of 15 hours per week directly with city council et al. Members for appropriate programming events and community engagement efforts. I would be taking out the word must be expected because I think that's very concerning that that's not comfortable, but they may. We can always talk about process and procedures, and then city council members, it could either be et al. Or in totality, whatever the proper verbiage is. That would be my amendment.
Is there support for the motion? I'll support it. Is there additional discussion on the motion? I will make discussion on this because I do have some things to say, as I just mentioned in my previous comments. Yes?
Councilwoman Rakowski did turn her.
Oh, I didn't see it pop up. I'm sorry, go ahead. Before me, yep, you're fine.
Okay. I would like to support your amendment. However, I find grievance with the word may. I think the idea of the word should, shall, must is in there to protect the fact that may means we're not going to have any of the time dedicated to us, where shall is a different, must is a different, it's a directive, it is a binding word. So while I would love to support that, and I understand you wanting to button up the language to make it less vague, I feel that may is vague.
Yes, of course.
What about will? And again, I'm not the legalese completely, but what will, and rather than must be expected, will work, a minimum.
Oh, you're asking me?
I'm not.
Did you have any, go ahead.
I mean, I really should only be representing myself in a court of law. You know, I'm not nor am I the attorney, right? I was just, we were at discussion, I was giving you my feedback. So you can put whatever word you want there, honey. You know, I mean, it's one of those situations where people are either going to love it and amend it or not, right? In this case, I have qualms with May. I like the way it was. I would have been happier just having et al. But you made the motion, and I'm just giving you my discussion as to why I would not be in support of it.
Is there any discussion additionally on the motion on the floor?
I just got one question.
Yes.
For the maker. Out of that whole contract or agreement that was newly proposed, that's the only line you want changed? Is there anything else?
As mentioned earlier, I had a cursory review, and that was the one that stood out to be the most different. I have not been able to really evaluate, because I still just got a lot of the things about what was changed to the answers, but I have not, that I would require more study. So at this point, that is the only one that seems to be more glaring to me, that is equally vague as we were talking earlier.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to see, when we go line by line,
No.
make changes.
Okay. Did you have anything else, Councilwoman? You it still shows your mic is on.
I'll call the question.
Okay. Question's been called regarding the motion. There's support on the call to question. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Baumann.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
No.
Councilman Horvath.
No.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Wishart.
No.
Pro Tem Sampe.
No.
Council President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion fails.
Quick point of question, wasn't that the motion to call the question?
Yeah, that was the motion to call the question, so I guess we're
So
continuing.
more discussion.
More discussion. Okay, since the call to question failed, does anybody have additional discussion? We're still on the motion. Okay, roll call on the motion then. Roll call on,
Just executed what you voted against.
So now
the roll call is on the motion that Councilwoman Baumann made regarding the language change to item 3A with the word may added in, or substituted in.
Please give me 1 minute.
Yes, take your time. Madam.
I didn't have, yeah, okay, just give me 1 minute, please. Okay, now this is the motion to amend the language as by Councilwoman Baumann.
Yes,
Okay,
it's that motion.
okay. Councilwoman Baumann.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
No.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
No.
Councilman Wishart.
No.
Pro Tem Sampe.
No.
Council President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion fails.
Now we are back to the original amended motion on the floor with the amended language brought forward and voted on brought forward by Pro Tem Sampe and voted and approved by the council. Is there any additional discussion on the amended language? Any discussion? Any dissent?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Baumann.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Wishart.
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe.
Yes.
Council President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right. Moving to new business. Item number 3. Confirmation of reappointment of Mayor Kevin Coleman as delegate to the Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority for a 1-year term effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilwoman Rakowski. Any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? Any additional discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes. Mayor's reappointed.
New business, item number 4, confirmation of reappointment of Steve Smith as alternate delegate to the Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority for a 1-year term effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Rakowski, supported by Councilwoman Baumann. Any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? Any additional discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business, item number 5, approval of proposed land division, parcel 56-06-4-02-0088 at 33720 Melton Street, north side of Melton, west of Schuman. This is Planning Department number 2278. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations, and if approved, directs the city attorney to draft the necessary land division resolution.
Support.
There's a motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilwoman Baumann. Director Ayub.
All right, there we go, thanks. Okay, subject parcel here is zoned R2, that's our single-family residential district. It's currently about 19,000 square feet, outlined in yellow on your screen. The property is currently developed by a single-family dwelling. The single-family dwelling is on the left-hand side of that red line. Can't see it with the tree shape, the tree canopy there. The petitioner is requesting to split the property into 2 to create a second buildable single-family residential parcel on the right-hand side. My understanding is that the existing home will be renovated as well. The proposed parcels will both comply with the R2 single-family zoning district regulations, as well as the required setbacks for the existing home that is on the site itself right now. Parcel A will be slightly bigger than parcel B at 9,800 square feet with approximately 74 feet of frontage along Melton, and parcel B, 9,100 square feet with approximately 69 feet of frontage along Melton. The Planning Commission heard this case at its June 6th Planning Commission meeting. No one from the public came out expressing concerns or support, and the Planning Commission is recommending approval. The property owner is here with us today. He has constructed several infill developments, single-family, throughout the community in the past 5 years during my time here. His English is a little rusty. I'm happy to help him out if you'll allow me to, but he is in the audience and can introduce himself if you'd like. Thanks.
Yep, would the petitioner like to come up?
Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Due to my father's minimal understanding of the English language, I will be speaking on his behalf.
Okay. Any questions from the maker? Yes, sir.
Yeah, real quick, Council President. Thank you for coming up and representing your father. This is a no-brainer. It's a legal split, meets all zoning. With property rights are property rights. So hopefully I'd ask my council to give them a break and let's get this approved. They've been here long enough. Thank you, Council President.
Sure. Any questions from the supporter?
My only question is, what is, just for, never mind, I'm going to withdraw. I don't have a question.
You all set? Okay. Any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
New business, Item number 6, approval of preliminary phase PUD development plan for a townhome development located at 27950 Ann Arbor Trail, north side of Ann Arbor Trail and west of Inkster Road. This is Planning Department number 2276. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon compliance with the restrictions requested by the City of Livonia and the departmental requirements and recommendations.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Baumann. Is there support? Supported by Councilwoman Rakowski. Director Ayub.
Okay, thanks, Council President. Subject site here is located on the north side of Ann Arbor Trail and west of Inkster. The overall site comprises of a little under 3 acres. It currently contains a single-family dwelling here in the southeast corner of the site. The property is currently zoned R2, single-family residential. The petitioner proposes to rezone the property to PUD, planned unit development, to construct a 20-unit, 4-building attached condominium development. So each of those 4 buildings containing 5 units inside. If approved, the existing dwelling will be demolished to accommodate the PUD. The units will have 2 bedrooms with a floor area of approximately 1,200 square feet. Each unit will include a single driveway plus a 1-car garage. There will be a total of 5 parking spaces for guests, 2 on the east side of that private drive and 3 on the west side of that private drive. The condo development will contain a full-service driveway at Ann Arbor Trail and a 24-foot wide private road or drive that I just mentioned, providing access to each individual unit. Development of the site will also include the installation of landscaping and trees, primarily along the Ann Arbor Trail frontage, but also throughout the entire development as well. The petitioner proposes storm water management in accordance with Wayne County's requirements, and a detailed landscape and tree replacement plan is provided in your backup. The building area, for site design requirements, the building area lot coverage is 23.27%. The height of the building, it's a 1-story building. It's going to look, it's similar to what's on your screen. 21 feet to the peak, matches somewhat of a single-story residential building. The front yard setback from Ann Arbor Trail is 25 feet. The rear yard setback is 30 feet. On the east side of the site, we have the Wilson Drain, so there's a 60-foot setback there. They are not touching anything within that drain area. All of the landscaping, existing shrubs and such will remain. On the west side, there is a sanitary and storm sewer easement for the City of Livonia, and that area is will remain unobstructed in accordance with a variety of the City of Livonia requirements. They wrote us a letter via the petitioner, sent it directly to my office. We had a phone call conversation about it. The petitioner is agreeing to comply with all of their restrictions and requirements, and that memo is also in your backup, and a condition of approval if you choose to approve this. The adjacent land use and zoning properties to the north are zoned R2, single-family residential, and developed by single-family dwellings. To the south is R2 and part of the Hines Park system. There's also a property here to the southwest of the site across from Ann Arbor Trail, Zone GAR. That's our garden apartment district and developed by an apartment complex. Property directly adjacent to the east is zoned SPD. That's our old PUD district, special plan development. It's developed by a 46-unit condo community, Trailbrook condos. Some of those residents did come out expressing concern for the possibility of all of the trees and shrubs in that Wilson Drain being removed for this development. And we had a dialogue that basically summarized that landscaping and shrubs is required to stay there to protect the drain. So that remains untouched in that area on the east side of the site. Properties to the west are zoned R2 single-family residential and are developed by single-family dwellings as well. So people from the subdivision to the north and to the west also came out at the Planning Commission meeting and expressed concerns for potential traffic impacts with this 20-unit development. The police department and our engineering division, OHM, had no concerns about the potential for impact on traffic. The residents were mostly concerned with traffic back up from the school during the peak hours, drop off and pick up. The 2018 future land use designation for this site indicates single-family residential. And lastly, the Planning Commission and administration are recommending approval with the 2 conditions listed in your backup, one of which is compliance with the City of Livonia restrictions to protect that 60-foot wide sanitary sewer and storm sewer easement. And the second is just a general requirement we list in all of our development agendas, meeting all departmental requirements and recommendations. Happy to answer any questions. The developer, the owner, architect are also present as well. Thanks.
Yep, if the petitioner would like to come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Fadi Saad. I'm the owner and developer of the property.
Great. Anything you'd like to add before we turn it over to the council for questions?
Do you guys have any questions?
Anything from the maker? Any questions from the supporter? Any questions from, yes, did you have,
Emily's the maker.
Emily's the maker.
yeah, sorry. Did you have something?
I do have some questions. So the first question is, as I understand, these are, none of these can have basements, is that correct? They have to be slab?
Yes, there's no basements, they're on slab.
Okay. And then, can I clarify, is it the Wilson drain part that is the Livonia part through the chair?
Okay, so the aerial I have up on the screen, there's a wooded area to the right-hand side, the east side, adjacent to the condominiums. That is the Wilson drain.
Yep.
There's a 60-foot wide setback to protect that drain. All of that landscaping in there existing will remain untouched. On the west side, near the single-family homes, there's an easement for underground utilities for the City of Livonia. It's a 60-foot wide easement, so there's a 60-foot wide setback there that's not going to be built on. There's a variety of restrictions in the City of Livonia memo in your packet that will be complied with during construction.
Okay, so just for clarity, so 60 feet on one side, 60 feet on the other side. Just for the math purposes, what does that leave?
It's in the site plan.
I'm sorry, because I was
It's
looking
okay.
at pictures and it looked tight with that.
I mean, it's a 3-acre site, so
All right. Any questions right now?
I have to pull out the site plan, but I can answer your question. Do you guys know how wide the site was?
I don't remember. I think it's,
Hold on.
I'm sorry, is it 60 feet or 6 feet?
60.
Total 120.
I'm seeing different things on the plan. I'm looking at the plan and I'm seeing different things. I'm seeing different consistency. That's okay. So please bear with me.
No worries.
I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing something.
Okay, yeah, we do some math.
Trying to see this. Sorry. No, it's fine. I can, that's, I find, I'll pass for next.
It's about 240, 280 feet wide, 60 on one side, 60 on the other, that's 120. So leaves a good amount of buildable area. The site plan is there, it's laid out, it's dimensioned, all that stuff.
Any further questions, Councilwoman? Okay, and the supporter, anything?
Hi, how are you?
good.
Long night, huh? Okay. I think this is a really reasonable use of this property. You know, there's a similar development happened off of Farmington over by Hines, kind of, it's reminiscent of that to me. You know, it's unfortunate that you can't do basements, but that whole area suffers that malady. So this sounds like a great opportunity for some seniors who want to downsize and have one, you know, ranch homes. You know, I think there's a lot of good use there. So, you know, as long as we make the city of Livonia okay with us, right, they'll be all right. Anytime we get new roof sets, I'm all for it. You know, it's, that one house has been there for eons, it seems, and it's
Yes.
ready to kind of go away anyways,
makeover.
right? So, looks like 20 individual units?
Yes.
Wonderful.
20.
Well, I hope that 20 families or individuals find a nice home there.
Thank you.
You
Hopefully.
have my support. Thank you.
All set. Thank you, Councilwoman. Do you have anything else, Councilwoman Baumann? Okay. Any other, your light is on, any discussion? Yep, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for bearing with us. Welcome to a council meeting. I just had a question in regards to the property. So it looks like you're renting them out and they're attached condos, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then what's the timeline on the project?
Hopefully within a year, that's what we're shooting
Okay.
for. We hopefully
Are you guys
start
looking to break ground then here shortly after approval?
Once we, hopefully right
Okay,
away.
sounds good. Just like to have it on the record. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just for clarification, these will be purchased condos, correct?
For sale, yes.
Okay, for sale, yep. All right, great. Because the word rental was used, want to clear that up. Any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Seeing and hearing none, motion passes. Good luck. Thank you for hanging
very
around.
much. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
New business, item number 7, approval of final phase PUD development plan for a townhome development located at 27950 Ann Arbor Trail, north side of Ann Arbor Trail and west of Inkster Road. This is Planning Department 2276A. Planning Commission recommends approval of the proposed final PUD plan.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Murkowski, supported by Councilman Hornbuckle. Director Ayu.
Hey, thanks. I do want to talk just for 45 seconds about the final phase PUD, but to answer your question, I did read it after I stopped speaking and lost the opportunity to continue. It was 322 feet wide along the frontage of Ann Arbor Trail, so minus the 120 for the 260s, that leaves 202. For big PUD developments, we tend to split these up into preliminary phase and final phase without bringing the final phase to you, just so everyone can be on the same page if there's modifications or adjustments that need to happen. This is one of our smaller PUDs, strictly residential, so not mixed use. And in these cases, we've had a couple of these types of PUDs. I like to send the preliminary and the final phase just to get it done at the same meeting. If you were to have some modifications that you wanted to see, we would move along the preliminary phase and bring back the final phase. So just a background for that. Thank you.
Okay. Any discussion from the maker?
Thank you, Council President. Well, thank you for that explanation. I think that's really helpful, especially for the folks tuning in, because a lot of times these are multi-phased developments. I think we said everything we need to say about it, right? So for me, I'm just looking forward to that land being developed. It's one of the rare parcels that actually should be developed. It already has been. Not really ruining any green space there. Looks like the drain's going to be nice and, still nice and green over the drain. So that'll make those individuals who live there happy too. So the only thing that I would ask is that, previously we've had some, planned developments come up and they start out as condos and they turn into apartments. And that doesn't really thrill me. So I would just like to have the commitment that you are going to build these as condos, they're going to remain as condos and be sold as condos. When we have that on the onset, and then all of a sudden there's this like silent switcheroo and things become apartments, while it's not necessarily terrible that there's apartments, but our goal really here is to give people permanent homes. So that would be my hope and my recommendation is that, or really my request, not my recommendation, my request that these remain condos that are for sale and will be owner occupied. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anything from the supporter? Councilwoman Bowman?
I just wanted to echo and share that, because I want to thank you for bringing new homes to our city, because that is something that we talk about that we need, and even some of the little bit of density is actually welcome as well. So I do want to thank you, but I would definitely agree that I wouldn't want to see it change from purchased condominiums.
Okay. Any additional discussion from the council? I will just echo the sentiments of both of my colleagues as well. I think this is great to have this development, hopefully a reasonably affordable development for folks as well. We're seeing a lot of the new developments, in particular with condos in some of these PUDs and other communities where they're priced at, $500,000-$600,000 to start, and it prices a huge percentage of people right out of the market. So hopefully some, pricing affordability on this as well. Any other discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none. Motion passes. Best of luck. Thank you. Okay, that is it, I think, for agenda items tonight. We are now going to move on to public comment. Everyone speaking before the council shall do so in a civil manner. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, vulgar language, disruptive outbursts, threats, racial slurs, or other conduct that interferes with the orderly conduct of the business meeting. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, other speakers, or members of the public will not be tolerated. The clock will start upon the first words of the speaker and will not stop while the speaker is recognized from the floor. The speaker can ask questions at this time, and the person questioned may respond during the speaker's allotment of time. However, the clock will not be stopped once it is started. The clock will continue to run for 3 minutes, is up, or when the person is done speaking, whichever comes first. Is there anyone on my left? Yes, Ms. Wilson.
Tired, my legs have stiffened up because that was an unnecessary conversation that y'all had. But Lori Wilson, Annapolis Park, all recognized. I'm here again about these speed humps. We have a total of 325 homes in my subdivision alone, and that's 325 driveways that cars have to back out into the street or pull into their driveway when they get home. Henry Ruff, that's a prime place, Chief. If you want some tickets, hop down there. Sit a car down there because, yeah. Coming on to Julius Boulevard, there's no speed humps down there. Julius between Henry Ruff and Dancy. It has a total of 39 houses. That's 39 driveways in one block. We have one hump, and that's in front of my house. So they can speed from Henry Ruff to my house, slam on the brakes, speed off down the street. Now, on Julius, between Hanover and Annapolis, there's 55 houses, one speed hump. Let's be for real. That's not stopping anything. Mayor, I just talked to you about this. The young man that I spoke to that was putting down the humps, I asked him, who engineered this? He said, my boss. So whoever it is, get the residents' input, because that one hump on the curve at Hanover, going around the back of Annapolis Park, that's it. I mean, who gonna speed around a curve anyway? Something has to be done. There is too much speeding, and it's getting hotter and hotter down there. There's police, I don't even want to talk about that no more, because, like I said, when I see them, they're going down in Merriman to Van Born to Middle Belt and straight back up to Westland. I've seen them twice in the last 2 weeks come through there, 2 times. So all I'm saying is, this is getting really ridiculous. Now, it's been 2 years now since I started asking for these speed humps. We get a couple, we don't get enough. We get promised, oh, they're being purchased. We don't get them. We don't get them enough, and we don't get them prioritized in the places that we need them. Julius Boulevard, the block I live on, is a racetrack. It is a quarter-mile run. That's all I'm saying. Take care of us. Come on now.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Is there anyone on my right wishing to speak? Ms. Reichwalder.
Good evening. Barbara Reichwalder, Manager, Corporate and Government Affairs, DTE. Good to see all of you tonight. So on behalf of DTE, we look forward to working with the city on improving lighting on Middle Belt between Ann Arbor Trail and Warren Road, so thank you for that. And I'd also like to invite the council and residents to the DTE Open House. It's tomorrow at the Friendship Center on Newburgh from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. We invite you to come out and talk to DTE representatives, talk with our engineers, have any questions you have for DTE answered, and grab a free taco after you visit with us. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reichwalder. Is there anyone on my left? Yes, Ms. Dale.
Oops. Good evening, everyone. Ruth Dale, Westland. I just want to give a thank you to pardon me, Caitlin Smith. She's head of adult services at the William P. Faust Westland Public Library. And for the past 2 years, she's also been editor of the booklet, Westland Rights 2025 this year. This booklet and Council President did a good job of promoting this at a meeting about maybe a month ago. Poems, stories, essays, and it began in 2009. And I did have, I wanted to thank Council President McDermott for not giving me the gavel at the last meeting for going overtime. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Ms. Dale. Thank you for that. Is there anyone on my right wishing to speak? Yes, ma'am.
This is going to surprise Miss Emily Bauman. My name is Susan Pascal, and I've been a resident of Westland for quite a while. And this is only my third meeting. I've finally decided to grow up and become part of the community. So one of the things that's really been bothering me, and this, like I said, this is going to surprise Emily, is there are so many times that I drive down the road and I'm getting a contact high from the cars down the street. I don't smoke weed myself. I know a lot of people that do. I don't have a problem with it. However, that is a DUI, is it not? I mean, it's getting to the point where it's getting ridiculous, and there's so many more we've got better cars, and we're having more accidents. Something needs to be done about this. And it probably has something to do with her, people speeding down her road. And, you know, we can keep finding these people and finding these people. If their mommy and daddy are supporting their habits and supporting their driving, I mean, it's not enough, apparently. I mean, what can we do to really sting these people to make them realize that this is going to end up killing somebody someday? I was a person that was for legalizing drugs and letting people sort it out themselves for a long time. But I've gotten to the point where people are too stupid, excuse my, my candor there, but people aren't making wise decisions anymore about this. And unfortunately, I find a lot of them are my age, and I'm almost 60 years old. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wish that we could do something more about this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone on my left? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Hi, my name is Eris Mullins. I don't know if this is the right place to bring this up, but Corrado Park, sorry, I'm really shaking.
No, it's okay. You're doing great.
Corrado Park, yes, it has gotten redone just this past year, and I have seen less of a, drug use happening and vandalism happening there, but it's still an issue, and with experience, not that I had, but my friends, when they're down there, they get, even if they're just hanging out at the playground, because yes, we're 16-year-olds, but we should be allowed to just be kids and hang out there. They're getting the cops called on them because everyone thinks that they're doing drugs or they're smoking weed, but they're not. And I just want to know what can be done to fix the issues with the mass amount of drug problem. And yes, it did go down from what it was maybe 3 years ago, but it's still an issue, and I still have to walk past that park going home. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone on my right wishing to speak? Not tonight, Ray? Okay. Anyone on my left wishing to speak? Yes, Mr. Powell.
Hello, Council. My name is Josh Powell. I'm a Westland resident. First of all, I just wanted to acknowledge the 250th anniversary of the Army this past Saturday. I'm a proud Army veteran, and a lot of people miss the fact that the Army and the Navy were actually formed a year before the Declaration of Independence, so they're technically a year older. So I just thought that was an important fact to bring up for everyone. Now, I'd like to talk about something I've talked about previously, and I've done a lot more research, so don't groan at me too hard, but the water tower, or water storage for the city. So I spent the last about 6 months going to different meetings and looking at the Great Lakes Water Authority through their different literature, which they don't make easy to read or easy to dissect. But, and this obviously is not an exact science, but with roughly 3 million gallons of water storage, we could reduce the water rates in the city about 26% by my rough calculations. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee that that will happen, but based on what other communities have done, like Farmington Hills and other things like that, 3 million gallons is about the sweet spot where you start seeing real savings. Obviously, you would have to spend money to do that, so you wouldn't see that savings immediately because you have to repay, whatever method you use to pay for that water storage. But I believe we could see an immediate savings to residents of about 10%, which would be good for residents and businesses, because obviously lower utility rates is good for everyone, including businesses. The other factor I think that's good for that is the Great Lakes Water Authority has an increasing PFAS issue, which we really have no control over because we get our water from them. But if we had a water storage facility, we could install some of our own cleaning if this becomes more of an issue. I know residents got that, every resident got that notice about, a lapse in I forget the language, but it was a lapse in monitoring of certain chemicals in the water. And people kind of freaked out about that. I know it wasn't a big deal, it was kind of a one-day thing. But I hope if I bring some details to light, at least you guys can actually have a conversation about it and make a concerted effort to look into it and maybe contact the Great Lakes Water Authority yourself, because they don't like to respond to random people like me asking weird questions. But I think that would be great, and I think it would be great to have a bill lowered for once instead of going up all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone on my right wishing to speak? Anyone on my left wishing to speak? Mr. Warren.
Good evening. Good evening. Now, we're in the latter stages of June, and most of the Afro-American community will be celebrating Juneteenth. My great-great-grandfather was a slave. His son barely escaped that, but he was a sharecropper, never making enough money to live off of. My father became a sharecropper. The only thing that saved him from being a sharecropper at that particular time was World War II, where he was inducted into the Army. But yet he came back to a segregated society, okay? And I lived in that segregated society for a while, looking at the white-only, black-only venues. So I have a pretty good idea of what to do in regards to the question of race. Now, the council has created the DEI, and you have a director of the DEI, which does not, has ever raised the question of racism, has ever had a discussion. What he does in that department is hold social events where he has luncheons. So it would behoove me and council to either get rid of it or the administration put it on the right path. Because you guys okayed his salary as a DEI agent, and that's not what he does. So you got some thinking, some soul searching to do. Because if we're going to address this question of race, sex, and everything else, there has to be some meaningful discussions. And those those coffee hours don't come anywhere close to the question of what the city is, because you don't have any idea of what the status is of this city in regards to race. So how can you begin to resolve it if you don't have discussions? All you're having discussions is of wonderful women of Westland. Sure, you're wonderful. But the bottom line is, how far have we come in regards to the city, and what kind of leadership do councils, police department, fire departments hold in regards to making this truly a better society here? So it's my hope that, one, you defund that department, DEI, because that's not what it does. Okay, and you're appointing, and Mayor, you're appointing people who haven't had a clue about race to be on that commission. And that's not what they talk about. They don't even know what the purpose is of why racism as a public health hazard, health question was even being on that commission. So it's very difficult.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Your time is up, unfortunately.
My time is up.
Unfortunately.
Is that what you said?
Yes. Time's never up.
That's what you said?
It is.
My time is up.
Yes, sir.
But I really don't want to hear anything from the predominantly white community about Juneteenth, because you will turn it into something that's
All right.
not just.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Thank you.
Okay, my time is up.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Warren. Is there anyone on my right? And anyone on my left? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will close public comment and move on to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Well, thank you, Council President. Thank you, City Council. Thank you, everybody in attendance tonight and watching the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Warren. Your comments are thought-provoking, and I appreciate you sharing your perspective with us, and you certainly give us some things to think about. Part of the comments from the public portion of the City Council meeting, there's a statement that's read by the Council President. Everyone speaking before the council should do so in a civil manner, et cetera, et cetera. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, other speakers, or members of the public will not be tolerated. So people watching the meeting saw me get a little upset with City Council earlier during the communications contract approval. And I just want to let folks know that, I did not appreciate the council president allowing a council member to make an accusation about a city staff member during this meeting on record. And it was an accusation that was not substantiated and really, without any proof or evidence. I just think it's inappropriate and unprofessional. And I'll continue to challenge comments like that if they are accusatory or slanderous. So I just want to let City Council know that there will continue to be that back and forth, that continues. I want to thank City Council for confirming Steve Smith and I, our reappointment to the Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority. I'd like to also inform everyone of some construction projects that will affect traffic in the upcoming weeks and months. All projects are weather permitting, and one I'm really pleased to share because I think it's about pretty much the bumpiest road in the city, which is Warren Road from Wayne to Vinoy. Yeah, there's a lot of bumps. I actually made the comment in my car the other day that I think riding a horse might have been smoother than driving down Warren Road. So I'm glad that's a county road, and Wayne County will be doing that project, weather permitting, beginning on June 20th from 4:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. So we know this will affect traffic. There's quite a bit of construction, but please be patient because I think in the long run this is really going to be a good thing. The city will be performing concrete work in the area between Middle Belt and Merriman and Joy to Ann Arbor Trail in that neighborhood beginning today. This will be going on all the way through the summer and all the way to September, early September. September 12th is the expected completion date of working in that neighborhood. It consists of removing and replacing deficient concrete pavement sections and resealing joints and cracks. Work will be permitted and completed during normal business hours. Grand Traverse, Vinoy to Northgate. It's scheduled to be resurfaced between July 9th and July 14th. And I know there's some people here that are really happy to hear that. And I know I made a promise a couple years ago to get that done, so excited to see the city finally get that done. And then also last on this list is Bancroft Street from Grand Traverse to Glenwood, which will start resurfacing, I think it's just one day, actually, July 23rd. I also want to thank city staff, city council, police and fire, DPS, and everybody involved, our volunteers, for some great events we had the last few weeks. The Friendship Center's Spring 5K, Relay for Life, Movie Night and Splash Bash, the Wayne Road Rescue Cruise, and the annual Wayne Road Cruise. Thanks again to everybody who organized, attended, volunteered, and sponsored these events. Really appreciate all the cooperation and collaboration for our residents in the city, so thank you, everybody. I'd also like to congratulate our Westland Police Officer of the Year, Officer Hallis. I was able to attend a police award ceremony this year. Congratulations, Chief Dolly. I know we have a couple other awardees in the room, Officer Plofchan and Officer Napi. Congratulations, and congratulations to all the awardees and everybody. Yep. We got a very professional police department. I think they continue to improve every year. And thank you again, Chief Dolly, for all your great work and all of your officers. I was honored to attend the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Friendship Center's new transit van. Thank you to the council members, Councilwoman Sampe, Councilwoman Baumann, who also attended. I think I got everybody that attended. And the unveiling of the police department lobby renovations, and to all the council members that attended that as well. Both these projects will have a very positive impact on our community. Lastly, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy and safe 4th of July and Independence Day. City offices will be closed on Friday, July 4th. Garbage pickup will be delayed until Saturday that week. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor. Anything from the city attorney's office this evening?
Good evening, everybody. Always a pleasure to be with you. I was thinking about maybe I would take Ray's 3 minutes, but I'll spare you guys, and I'll just say have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you. We will begin council comments this evening with Councilman Wishart.
Thank you, Council President. I'll be short and sweet because I'm sure others will be using all the time. Excited to see new houses in our neighborhood. A lot of my peers in my age group can't afford houses, so every house helps them get into homes. June is still Men's Health Month. Reach out to the guys in your life, please. Reach out to them. Just talk to them. And for all the wives out there, make sure your husband's actually going to the doctors and not pushing it off, because I'm guilty of that extremely. And 4th of July is coming up. Be safe. Fireworks are dangerous. They're really fun, but they're dangerous. Don't let little kids run around with sparklers. They're really dangerous. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman Wishart. We will now hear from Councilwoman Baumann.
Thank you. I did want to thank Mr. Powell for mentioning the 250th anniversary of the Army, because I did a little, I tend to do research when these things come up, and this year is also the 250th anniversary of 3 branches of the military. Army, Marines, and Navy will also be celebrating their 250th year, which all came together before the signing of the Declaration in 1776, because next year is 250th of all of that. So I did want to bring that up, because that is something that is, that, I think had some tremendous value. I do want to just, mention that I know this was a long meeting, and I just appreciate everyone that's been here and participating, and obviously listening to everything like going on. I think it's important that we have these kind of dialogues, so I hope that, one of the things I always asked for, even before I was on council, was that transparent discussion in front of people. So for what it's worth, it can seem long, it can be like a lot, but I think it's very valuable that that happens, because some of the complaints in previous years, and I'd heard it multiple times, was that there would be discussion behind closed doors, and then they'd come up here and they would just vote, and nobody really knew why someone voted or what people were thinking. So I want to thank people for tuning in, paying attention, and just know that from my perspective, I actually appreciate the opportunity to do some of those conversations and ask questions in front of the public. So again, that's really all I have to say today, so I want to thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bautman. We'll now hear from Councilman Hornbuckle.
Thank you. First, I want to say happy belated Father's Day to everybody in the audience, everybody up here with me, and the administration as well. You got a little puppy.
I got a dog.
That counts too. I do want to briefly talk about WLND and why I support the changes. Not as recently, but last year or the year before, I'm not for sure if they just used the mayor's name, but I had 2 segments that I wanted to do for the city that brought in people from national security, DHS, I had FBI, and I wanted to do a segment that educate the community about cybersecurity and being safe, being online, and cyberbullying. And that was turned down, and the reason was the mayor denied it. I'm not saying that the mayor didn't tell me directly, but the mayor name was used as why I couldn't do that. So that's kind of one of the things I would like, why I support the changes, because I would like to be able to have programs or information out to the community that will benefit the community. I'm not asking for random segments. It's more educational. If it's going to be benefit for the city needs to know, and it'll be nice if a council person could be a part of that. Like I said, it didn't come directly from the mayor, but the mayor name was used. So, what happens? Who do you point the finger at?
All right, hold on. We're not going back and forth. We've done a lot of that this meeting. Continue on. And
Yep.
please don't.
We could talk afterwards, but like I said, it didn't come directly from you. It did come, they did use your name. That could happen a lot. I do want to, I'm happy that we have new buildings, not buildings, but new homes coming to the city. That's awesome. But I do have one problem. These people need jobs, so we need to start looking at how to attract new jobs to our city, new businesses, new restaurants, new, we need to start looking at attracting new businesses in our community. So I would definitely like to see that. Speed humps, I have been around the city. I sent multiple emails to the council president about speed humps in the city. I've been hearing a lot of that, so it would be great to help these people that want speed hump to get their speed humps. And she brought up a great question, who engineered where these speed humps go? I have a couple of residents that ask, why the speed hump go here when it's like 2 feet away from the stop sign? Why wouldn't it be in the middle of the street? So it would be great to have, when they put those speed humps up, to really think about where they putting the speed hump at. I do, Josh Powell, I did request a study session or some type of public session with the Great Water Authority. It just haven't been booked yet, but yes, that is something that I did request that we will be having scheduled once we get past a couple of budget items. I do want to, he left, but Kyle Mulligan, I want to kind of give him a shout out and apologize to him. I've been a little rough on him about our parks. Our parks have not looked up to par lately, trash everywhere. And it was probably the middle of the day, but when I got back the next morning, DPS came through and it was clean, it was perfect. I came back to the park hours later and it was a mess again. So what I would like is for the residents, when you're out at the park, you know, pick up your trash, pick up my kids. If it's something, I have them pick it up, put it in the trash. You know, if you see someone throw something on the ground, it's okay to be like, hey man, don't, you know, this is our park. This is not the city's park. This is our park. So I would like it if, you know, we as the community stepped up and said, hey, don't do that. We want our parks to look clean. You know, you play here too. The trash is right there. There's plenty of trash bins at the park, and it would be nice if we kept it clean. I believe the city is doing everything they can to keep it clean, but I think residents, we can step it up and help keep our parks clean as well. I've been hearing a lot of complaints about the trash pickup. I have sent multiple emails to council presidents and administration about the trash pickup. It hasn't been just one area, it's been multiple areas around the city. I also reached out to Paul at Priority Waste to understand why these trash cans getting missed. You know, reply back was we'll get it taken care of, and they have, but the residents shouldn't have to call for trash pickup if it's scheduled for a certain time. It needs to be picked up. If it's scheduled for a certain day, it needs to be picked up at a certain day. I understand it might be late in the day, but we expect the trash to be picked up especially that week. Street sweeper, I've been getting a lot of complaints or hearing stuff about that. When are the street sweepers supposed to come? On the website, it says this week. In May, we in June, and the sweepers are just coming around. There's no sign. I was actually outside, and I parked on a street, and I went to go talk to some residents, and I'm like, wait a minute, I hear a street sweeper, but I did not see not one sign anywhere to tell me not to park on the street. So I kind of feel bad for that community where I had my vehicle in the street and the street sweeper had to go around it. So it'd be great to have better communication. That's kind of why I asked about the app, to be able to notify community when street sweeping is going on. So that'll be something that, if we could have, that'll be great as well, to notify people. Especially, I know it depends on the weather and the weather changes, but we have to give people update, some type of communication. And the mayor did respond back, so I'm not going to beat you up that bad, but you did respond back. I do want to give the police department a big high five, a big hug, a big fist pump. You know, you guys do a great job. I was lucky enough to do a ride-along this Saturday night, and I do appreciate the insight. I came with my own list of things of where neighborhoods complain about police not coming in there, parks not being looked at, and one of the parks was Stoudemire Park. And we drove over to Stoudemire Park, and what do you see? You see a car after dark, doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. And, you know, I was glad we went over there and we got it taken care of, no incident, but those are one of the things that people complain about, is people being at the park after 10, and we were able to go over there and check it out. Another one was, I think, Glenwood, where we have problems with residents complaining about people running stop signs. And we just happened to go over there, and what the heck? An Uber driver runs the stop sign right in front of us. I'm like, what's the odds? But it was a great night. We got to ride around the whole city. I will say, don't drink and drive. Please don't drink and drive. Please don't speed in Westland. Don't run stop signs. I do want to tell the Uber drivers, man, we call Uber because we want to be responsible and get home safely. So don't run stop signs as an Uber driver, man. Just, you know, we rely on you to get us home safely. Please don't do it. And again, a big shout out to the night crew Saturday night. It was definitely a great experience. Everyone they pulled over, from my eyes, I know people gonna say, oh, that was just because you was there. But body language, tells a whole story, and they was professional. Every time they walked up to a vehicle, I had seen not one gun draw, not one taser drawn, and we did about 20 calls that night. So 20 people, I got to see different areas of the city, and every time we pulled over somebody, I seen professionalism. I seen officers checking up on each other every time, because they mostly run one car at a time, one officer in one car, so constantly checking up on each other. And the fire department, they were out there helping us out. We had a guy walking across the street get hit, and the car fled. So fire department was there just as quick as the police was there. But definitely a great experience, professional, treated every resident that I seen professionally and with respect. And not all 20 people got tickets. Some people, officer just educated them like, hey, don't do this, don't do this. So I was definitely impressed and liked the professionally they treated people. So I'm gonna stop rambling because I know I hit my time limit. Somebody lost their bet. But thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you for dealing with this. And this is probably the longest time I talk. But I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited for our community and looking forward to working with everyone here. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hornbuckle. We'll now hear from Councilman Hart.
Thank you, Council President. Be short and sweet. You all have been here a long night, so happy belated Father's Day and happy early Independence Day. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. We'll now hear from Councilwoman Rakowski.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to keep it to a minimum as well. I think everybody's heard quite a bit from all of us this evening. Did enjoy the lively debate. I do apologize. I think I said, like, flippantly, it was like, you can use whatever word you want, honey. And it's just like, it certainly meant no disrespect to you. But no, it's important. Transparency is important. Dialogue, when it's open and honest, is important. You know, it's not easy being any of the individuals up here, making any decision about anything. So the biggest thing is you want to try to find a common place, you know, a consensus, a compromise when you can. But, you know, sometimes our emotions get ahead of us, or we've had enough of, you know, particular behaviors that, you know, it spawns something in you that you really want to stand up about, and that you dig your feet into the sand. So appreciate the lively debate. You know, we had already discussed it for an hour before we got here. So we were probably already keyed up for it. But, you know, just want to wish everyone a happy and safe 4th of July. Please follow what I would ask is you follow our fireworks laws. Far too many times people are shooting off these fireworks any old day they want to, other than I think it's the day before and after and the holiday. We have a lot of individuals who suffer from PTSD that really cannot tolerate the fireworks. We have a lot of pets that can't tolerate the fireworks. So just be kind and try to be considerate of your neighbors, and, you know, be aware of that night curfew too, because the 3 o'clock random fireworks are just not my favorite. And they echo off of my home, so it's an experience. So I can certainly understand how someone who has PTSD, especially our combat veterans, how that would affect them, because it startled me. But other than that, enjoy your 4th of July. We'll see you the following week in fiscal year 25-26. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We will now hear from Pro Tem Sampe.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, everyone who stuck around. This absolutely was a longer meeting, lively debate. I would just ask, moving forward, my husband, my family, my dad, no one yells at me and points their finger. If everyone needs to talk to individuals, I'd be more than happy to do it offline. I have the dates right here. It was accused that I was lying about certain things. There's no reason to lie about any of that. Be more than happy to meet with you, Mayor, share the details, but I don't want to go back and forth. It just is such a bad look. The residents don't need to see it. It's obvious you have an issue with me. I'd be more than happy to talk with you offline. Honestly, we're just in it to try to do good things here. Everyone's in it to try to make the city better and work together, and none of that really achieves the goal. Summer has been a really busy start. The police awards were fantastic, so I know it's been mentioned, but congratulations again. Chief Deli has such a great force. I'm really happy that you did that ride along. I've done it before, and I was supposed to do it this weekend, but I had 8 grad parties. So. Relay for Life was on June 7th. I just want to congratulate all of the amazing team that plans. Relay for Life is something that plans all year long, raising money, and it was just a fantastic event, and I really appreciate it. I also want to thank Don Nicholson for the construction crews and the Wayne Road crews. I was able to make it out to both of them. The construction crews was quite small, but I think it was really good to kind of get businesses out. I saw Marco's out there. They were grilling on site, which was really cool. I think that there was some Mexican food out there too, but it was just fantastic to see businesses and just ignite some patron of those businesses. I wanted to thank the chief for working really hard, Chief Stamper, Director Awadi, and resident Aaron Anderson. CERT is in full effect, so we have a training date. We have 23 individuals who signed up. We're hoping to get majority of these people in as long as they respond back. July 18th through the 20th is the dates, so it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be quite long, but at the same time very informative. So CERT, what it is, it's a community emergency response team. These individuals are going to be volunteering to help out our first responders with just basic first aid, fire safety, and I know that they're going to do CPR and just light search and rescue. So it's free for the residents to be involved in flexible training and disaster preparedness, and hopefully we can get everyone trained for Blues, Brews, and Barbecue. That's the goal, to just be extra eyes and ears. So I know that we picked up our training bags and our vests, so it's pretty exciting. Also wanted to thank Mo. I know he's gone. Merriman and Cherry Hill has had, they had a bike chain there for a while, so he was able to work with the police department and got that removed, and it looks like we got the grass cut. So I had gotten quite a few residents that had reached out about that, so I want to thank Mo for jumping into action. DT has already plugged their own event, but I'll do one more plug. Unfortunately, I don't think everyone's going to see this before tomorrow, but it's going to be a nice event. I plan to join from 4:30 to 6:30 at the Friendship Center. They're going to have their team out there talk about the tree trimming, the grid updates, and other energy programs. So thank you, Barbara, for coming and your team. We appreciate it. It's been a long meeting. One more plug for an event. This is for Purpose Hands nonprofit. It is taking place on the 24th from 6 to 9 here at Westland City Hall. It's going to be an event to help the most vulnerable community, helping with diapers and formulas and wipes. They're going to be doing a really, really nice event here. I know that they are looking for sponsors, but it's going to allow for the community to rally around those that need help the most, especially this time of year and everything that people are dealing with in the summertime and childcare and so on and so forth. So Adelina Robinson is amazing. She runs the daycare, and her nonprofit is going to be putting on this event to help out the community with essential needs. So I think that's it for me. So our next meeting, as mentioned, is not until July 7th. I hope everyone has a great 4th of July, safe. Be safe and kind with one another, and we'll see you on July 7th at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Okay, a few things here tonight. Number one, with regards to this meeting and how it went today, you know, I've been very lenient as a council president because we've had years where we've had endless back and forth on the council. Tonight, I think, was a prime example of that. But we've had endless back and forth, name calling, my light wasn't on, this, that, and the other kinds of comments that have been made, personal attacks. that have been made towards council members, towards administration members. And I've been very lenient and almost probably to a point of almost too hesitant to jump in and stifle some of these discussions, because I don't want anyone to feel like they can't voice their opinion. But it is correct, and it goes both ways, right? We cannot make accusatory statements towards people. We have to be careful as adults with what we say, whether it's council towards the administration towards council. We have to be, I think, careful of that. There have been words thrown around, and the word liar in particular has been thrown around, and I've heard this now about 2 different meetings. Accusing someone of being a liar, whoever it comes from, is a very serious accusation, and when you use a big word like that, it carries a serious implication. So I think that, we all have to be equally careful with the words that we choose and how we choose to frame things, because it's not a good look if someone from the council is calling the administration a liar, or vice versa, and back. So I'm going to be quicker to jump in on some of this stuff, I think, at future meetings and tamp some of this down so that it doesn't get into a hostile back and forth. So I apologize for not jumping in sooner and quicker on my end as council president. And I would like, respect and decorum shown to everybody, the residents, all of us as council members, the administration, city staff, and I don't think that that was necessarily the case at tonight's meeting. And I think we can have a spirited discussion, and I think we can have spirited disagreements on the discussion without making pointed accusations at one another, because we are all adults in this room, and I will be quicker to jump in. And I think that I've probably, on an occasion or two, tonight being one of them, been too lenient with what I've allowed to go on. So that is what I have to say about that. A few other things I wanted to talk about. It was brought up with regards to, DEI. I mentioned this at the last meeting, and I know I've mentioned this before regarding some of the changes that DEI has recommended to the council, to this and previous administrations. It would be nice to have more dialogue on some of those things. So thank you, Mr. Warren, for bringing that up. I appreciate that. I want to thank Don Nicholson and Gail Nicholson and everybody who put on not only the Wayne Road Cruise, but the construction cruise, the restaurant cruise, the Wayne Road Restaurant Cruise, whatever we want to call it, that took place. I know I saw the mayor, several of my colleagues out at that, so it was great to see people here and people in the community supporting some of the businesses. I had the chance to go to Carlos that evening with Christina and Buster Worm and have dinner over there at Carlos to support them. And then also thank you, Don, for putting on the annual Wayne Road Cruise. It sounds like another very successful cruise, and great weather on the weekend for it as well, so that was nice to have. I was unable to attend due to a prior commitment that I forgot that I had, the police officers award ceremony. I normally make it a point to go to those each and every year, but I want to congratulate Officer Hallis and all the officers who won awards there, but Officer Hallis in particular for winning Officer of the Year. There was a comment made tonight. Now, I know, that I made a comment with regards to the WL&D contract of, being put, back against the wall here, and I do feel that. There was a comment also made about the CDBG and how our backs are against the wall. I do disagree with that one. There was a month and a half between when the CDBG meeting took place and when we had the vote on the actual CDBG agreement for this year, and there was a whole, month and a half. So when I think of like back against the wall, I do think of like, a couple of weeks to make a decision before time runs out. With regards to the CDBG contract, I do reject it on that one because there was a whole month and a half between when the meeting took place for the study session, took place for that, and then when we had the council meeting to ultimately vote on that. When it comes to changes being made to contracts, normally I wouldn't sit up here and want to support that to a dice. There's only been one other time in my going on almost 6 years on the council that I've made such a change, and that was in the budget in 2022 when we added an extra police officer into the budget. And I know that we have tried to avoid making those kinds of changes. I do appreciate my colleague's comment about wanting more transparency and having more discussion at the dais, but I do think it could also be fair that if we have large-scale changes like that, to share it around, beforehand with everybody so that everybody has access to it, because I know that, some of us were just told about this today in finding out. So, while I was in support of those changes, I do agree with the sentiment of, making sure that it gets shared around with the administration, shared around with all of us, so we can make an informed and timely decision on this matter. So, for future reference, that would be great as well. Want to thank Miriam Cady and the entire team, Rhonda Graham, Jill Cates, everybody that worked really hard on the Relay for Life event. I think almost everybody on the council, the mayor, were out there at Relay for Life. It was quite an event, and if you've never had the opportunity to attend, it's not just a couple of hour city event, it's an all-day, affair that goes, long into the evening. I saw our police officers, our community police officers, Officer Nabi, Officer Pluffchamp out there, our fire department was out there as well. City staff was out there, for a big part of the day. I want to thank Director Mulligan and our DPS crew for helping get it set up and broken down at the end of the day. So thank you to everybody on the council, the mayor, city staff who attended, and most of all, thank you to all the residents who attended and made a donation to support the cause in the fight against the scourge and the terrible disease that is cancer. And then, one other thing I did want to make mention of, Councilman, I have heard you on priority waste because I've gotten several calls as well. I know we had a study session probably about 2.5 years ago now with priority when, back at I believe the middle to end of 2022, so maybe about 3 years now, we had issues with priority on a pretty much citywide scale. That was pretty significant, where I think for the better part of a month and a half, 2 months, priority was having issues, and they came in and promised us all these changes that they were going to make and technology that they were going to invest in. I don't think we've gotten to that point with priority just yet, but I certainly hear, folks who are calling in frustrated with the missed pickups or delays, and I think all of us collectively want them to do better, and are going to work to, hold their feet to the fire, because I'm sure for the calls we're getting, I'm sure the mayor's office, the administration is probably getting similar calls as well. So we hear you on the priority issues. And with that, if anybody needs anything, I'm always available. It does take a few days to get back if I don't get to you, right away, but you can call me or text me at 734-890-2146 or shoot me an email as well. If I don't get to you right away, I apologize, because I do get quite a few in a given week. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Support.